But there may come a point, even like it was in 2020, where it's like that's the thing that keeps you relevant.
Yeah.
Or
like that I'm worried for you because right now things are good economically. You know, like there's definitely signs that things could go bad. So, like inflation's rising.
similar to like Dr. Squatch, and
Exactly.
where it's just like, hi, I'm a man. Do you want to smell like a man and not a girl?
Consumer culture, people are constantly looking for that kind of like entertainment, whether it's from social media or Netflix or whatever they're doing. To talk to you about something that's a little bit more about paying the bills.
Good. We need to we need to do that.
Listen, I mean, it's fun to just sit here and nerd out about podcasts because it's new and it's fun, and you know, we love doing it. And we're really excited about not only the podcast but the podcast studio and like the idea of turning learning a new skill and then being able to share it with others and make it into a profitable business. But
can you do a 10-second catch people up on podcast studio? Like, we want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And then you essentially,
That's a good point. So
just in case someone doesn't know.
Yeah. So last episode, which I know you all listened to, last episode we talked about it a little bit, and there's actually a clip that goes live tomorrow that walks through it. And by the time this is up, it'll already be live. So check it out on the YouTubes and wherever else we're going to post it. I don't know.
Audio and video. So YouTube and then wherever you find podcasts.
Well, you can find the podcast is up, but there'll be a clip that's specifically
the clip will just be up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless
Maybe
there's a
LinkedIn.
short. Or LinkedIn too.
Yeah, it might be LinkedIn.
Facebook. You can put it on Facebook, yeah. We're still figuring out where we're posting things, clearly.
Yeah. Well, we need to have our strategy meeting. But the YouTube, so I think every business needs to have a podcast. I love, you know, I wasn't planning on mentioning Gary Vee twice in a podcast because I really don't follow Gary Vee that much, but I do agree with one thing that he says, which is every company is a media company that happens to sell stuff.
So good.
You know what I mean? So this idea of we're in a consumer culture, people are constantly looking for that kind of like entertainment, whether it's from social media or Netflix or whatever they're doing. So in order for your brand, your company to really connect with people, you have this really great opportunity through social media, through video in particular. So every company, if they look at themselves as we are a media company that happens to sell shoes or happens to sell, you know, business software, when you're entertaining, you actually do more business. Even if it's like advertising. Like, have you ever like researched mattresses? Have you ever done any of that? Like, you need a new mattress for the house?
Yeah, I mean, at one point we, like 3 years ago, got a Purple mattress.
Sure.
Yeah. So I know.
Purple's a great example. Their ads are hilarious. You know, they have amazing ads, but then they've got competitors with like Casper and Tuft and Needle, and you know, I forget
Tempur-Pedic and
sure, and then there's
which all have the different angles, right? You have the luxury ones, you have the ones that are more funny and accessible, and
The reason I asked that is because one time I did like one of those websites that's like a you know, aggregator of all web mattress reviews, and you know, clicked on a link and all of a sudden it was like a feeding frenzy on my social timeline of mattress ads. You know, every single thing I clicked on was a mattress ad. It might have been the thing that convinced me to get YouTube Premium, frankly. But it was, at least early on, entertaining from a marketing standpoint to be like, oh, here's all these different creative ways that people are connecting. And the people that did the Purple mattress ads have turned that into an agency, actually. Like, they were like, here's how you do these super creative ads.
Yeah. It's similar to like Dr. Squatch, and where it's just like, hi, I'm a man. Do you want to smell like a man and not a girl?
Right,
Use
exactly.
Dr. Squatch, you know.
Right, Old Spice does the same thing. Duluth Trading Company has an amazing ad set that they run during football games. They're just like these cartoon lumberjacks talking about underwear, you know, and like a bunch of like innuendo, you know, like it's fantastic. I love it. But we believe that this is what's best for Brand Nerd, is to actually create content and put it out there. And so we're like, okay, you know, the way I do these things is typically a little over the top. I'm like, well, I got to get like the right podcast equipment. You know, like you read these things like, just hit record on your phone. I'm like, not going to happen. Like that's not the way I like to do it. And
And you're in a position.
And I'm in a position where I can do something. Like, I definitely don't have unlimited spend, but investing a few $1,000s in some nice equipment was not that big of a problem for me. But my immediate thought was, this shouldn't just be for my business. I work with dozens of businesses. We work with dozens of businesses that also should have podcasts. Some of them are local here and could actually come to a studio. And there's other businesses that aren't currently clients that should be having a podcast. And we can do that for them. And we can also help them with other things like websites and messaging and branding. And we can help them. We can also help our current clients become podcasters. So it's kind of like two businesses that are intertwined with each other. And
Can you imagine just like a lawn specialist company that has immaculate service? They have a fleet of vehicles that are wrapped well, really identifiable. They do great work. And then on top of that, when you go, you see their truck outside somewhere and you look them up on Instagram or whatever, because that's where people are searching. First of all, they're searching on Google and stuff, but people want to know the personality behind your brand, the character of your brand and your company. So they end up finding out you have a podcast about how to treat grass, how to treat your like landscaping ideas. And they bring on different designers and different, like there's so much potential to take something that seems obscure or like mundane is the right word actually, and make an entire content stream out of it.
Exactly.
It's just, it's wild. And I think people just don't think that way. I actually reached out recently to a painter, and he's a solopreneur. He does painting. And I said, hey man, like I would love to, I was trying to see if he would exchange work for a job.
Nice.
But because he's a solopreneur, you can do that, right? Like just say, hey, if you help me paint my porch, I can do some content, video work for you, whatever. And he was like, dude, I'm slammed. That sounds like that would be awesome, but I actually just don't even need to put anything out. And I was like, okay, understandable. You're busy. But if that person were to be able to get to a point where they had the capacity to say, what if I was able to do a podcast about paint colors, whatever, interior, and then you can become an expert in something you were never an expert in before. Right? Just by inviting other voices into your platform.
So one of the things that is not my strength is sales. And so like when I hear a client say something like that, say, hey, I'm just so busy. I can't, like, why would I market when I'm this busy? There's a part of me that goes like, that I'm worried for you, because right now things are good economically. Like there's definitely signs that things could go bad. So like inflation's rising, like spending is slowing down. I've definitely seen like people a little more hesitant to start to spend money. But if we get into a recession type economy where people aren't having jobs, they don't have as much money to spend, inflation continues to rise, like we could have a real problem. And people that once were super busy are then not busy. And all of a sudden they will wish that while they were busy, they were taking the time to market themselves more. I'm seriously concerned about that. And that's part of what we're doing here too. Like it is really difficult to take an entire day and dedicate it to this. I mean, essentially I'm using as kind of like a pressure cooker to be like, well, I just have to be more productive for 4 days so that this one day can do the thing that I know is important, and the rest of the days can be focused a little bit more on the urgent, if you will. So I get concerned about that. There was a great quote. I think it was Henry Ford, who has a lot of great quotes. Not advertising because you're too busy is the same thing as trying to save time by stopping your watch. Like it doesn't actually, I'm paraphrasing, but like it doesn't actually stop time. Time continues on. And so if you stop advertising for your business, the world's going to keep continuing on. And at one point you're going to be, you're going to wish that you had advertised a little bit more. So when I hear people say that, that's what comes to mind.
We just saw in 2020 how people with businesses that had content, when people were locked down, content shot up like crazy.
Absolutely.
So that's what birthed all these content creators. Like, I mean, I can go back to 5 YouTubers right now that said, we were doing good on YouTube. But what put us over the edge, I just smacked the mic with my finger, so it's probably like a pop of audio, sorry. But what put us over the edge was 2020. Because people just lived on YouTube. They lived listening to content all the time because they were home. And so if you can invest into doing content, like you said, like that Gary Vee model of, hey, we're a content creation company essentially that happens to do X. Well, that's going to be beneficial in some season or in every season, but there may come a point, even like it was in 2020, where it's like, that's the thing that keeps you relevant or, you know, afloat essentially. So yeah.
And that's exactly why this podcast is so important. I have to remind myself of that as we're doing it, is because yes, it's helping my business now, but also when things do slow down, and I believe that they will in the next, you know, months or years, even for my company, I know that I can hold on to this, not only as, hey, we've done all we can do to promote this and grow a following of people who want to come to us for us, not just, you know, they're not just typing into the internet, web design or something like that and landing on us and going, you know, getting a bunch of quotes and eventually choosing us. Instead, they just go, we need a website. I've been watching this podcast or I've been seeing this content. Like, we should go talk to those guys right away. Like, that's a much more valuable client because there's a lot less education that I have to do. Additionally, when things do slow down, you have that loyal fan base, but then you also have potentially another income stream, you know, through the podcast. If this grows into a point where, you know, we can monetize it in some ways, then it's another income stream as well. So that's the things that get me excited. If you enjoyed this Brand Nerd podcast clip, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. In the meantime, here are additional videos you might find illuminating.